From the Alvin and Rosalie Sarachek studio, PBS Kansas presents Hatteberg's People.
Time for another trip back in time to revisit Hatteberg's People.
Coming up.
It's such an honor to be able to interact with these animals. It's unbelievable that I get to do what I do.
She had a dream job for any animal lover. We'll explore the work of this animal behaviorist and see its impact on exotic creatures living right here in Kansas. Plus,
well, I guess there's just a lot of native plants and animals that are underappreciated. Well, it just takes opening your eyes.
He was retired, but still loving his lifelong work in the natural world. Professor Dwight Platt discusses what he thinks is most important about the wild plants and creatures around us. Also,
it's the best I've had in my lifetime, so I feel like it's a blessing to me that I've got what I got.
before you complain about not having the fanciest house or newest wardrobe, we'll have John Brown talk some sense into you. He found the secret to happiness, and it cost next to nothing. Hi, everybody. I'm Larry Hatteberg.
And I'm Susan Peters. Those are just some of Larry's classic stories that are queued up and ready to roll on this edition of Hatteberg's People.
These stories are like old friends. Their lives radiate from the screen like prophets of the past. They were teachers, but not in a classroom. Instead, they taught about life to those around them who cared to listen, and I was their student.
Some people have a way of understanding animals that goes beyond words. It's a kind of unspoken connection that turns fear into trust, chaos into calm.
Yeah, at the Sedgwick County Zoo, one woman made it her life's work to decode the language of the wild, transforming the way creatures big and small interact with the world around them. Her name was Emily Weiss.
I always wanted to be Dr. Dolittle. That was my dream job. Hello.
Now at the Sedgwick County Zoo, Emily Weiss is doing her dream job. Emily is curator of behavior and research at the zoo. Her job is to keep the animals active and, most important, thinking.
This is Sula. Hi, sweetheart.
The training and behavior modification for these animals helps to keep the stress away. Here, Emily works with a jaguar so that if it needs to be seen by a vet, it will open its mouth on cue for inspection.
Good girl.
She uses a pole with a rounded end as a target to help in the training.
I see to the target. Good. All right. And that makes it so that anytime we need to handle her or check her, let's say she has a tooth infection, instead of having to anesthetize her, all she has to do is open up her mouth for us and we can check her teeth. It makes it much easier, all for a little piece of meat.
With a doctorate degree in animal behavior, Weiss is always seeing friends.
Panji, can we see your hand? Good. Hold. And when I have his hand, I can inspect his fingers. I can look for cuts and boo-boos, make sure that there's nothing wrong. If there is something wrong, I can treat it. Can I see your belly? You want a raisin? I have to see your belly first. Belly. Good. Hold. This was the hardest one when he was 2. He was so ticklish. He's considered an adolescent right now, so he's really starting to get a tad ornery. But he and I have really grown up together and learned about the zoo world together. And he has taught me so much about training and patience. To be able to have a part of your day be the interaction with these animals and the interaction with the people who are just as committed with you that also work here, it's amazing.
Surprisingly, one of her favorite animals isn't exactly cuddly. They are the Aldabra tortoises. This is Rocket, and he's a big boy, 75 years old. And then there's Missy. She's only 50.
These animals are motivated by us, by being near us, by touch, by interaction. And one of my favorite animals, not so much because of the interaction that I have with them, but because of what they taught me. They've taught me to keep my eyes open, to never assume, and also to be patient, because you must be patient when training a tortoise. But they're incredible. It's such an honor to be able to interact with these animals. It's unbelievable that I get to do what I do. Okay, not my fingers, Rocket.
Well, Emily left the zoo in 2004, and since then, she's continued to make significant contributions to animal welfare. She joined the ASPCA as Vice President of Research and Development, where she focused on improving animal welfare in shelters and communities. Now, Emily has become a nationally recognized speaker and published numerous articles on topics related to applied animal behavior and human-animal interactions. The Sedgwick County Zoo attracts so many great people out there.
Okay, first
and
of
look
all,
what she's done.
It's unbelievable. We have one of the best zoos in the nation.
We do.
But applied behavioral, what the heck?
I know, I just wish my cat could talk.
Exactly.
You know, so you could understand what they're doing.
Oh, it takes all kinds, right?
It does.
She probably hears what the animals are saying.
Well, she's certainly smarter than I am.
Okay, well, some people see nature as just the world around them, trees, fields, the passing of seasons.
Yeah, but for Dwight Platt, it's something deeper. A story written in every blade of grass, a lesson carried in the brisk Kansas wind. Dwight spent decades teaching biology at Bethel College, but retirement didn't pull him away. It only brought him closer.
Lived on this plot of land for almost 55 years now, so one gets sort of attached to it.
It's beautiful out here. Dwight Platt's little acreage is perfect for his lifestyle.
Yeah, we overlook a lot of the little things that are common around us.
What's this one right here?
Well, that's the red admiral. It's the appreciation of learning some of the complexities of nature and the God's creation around us.
For 40 years, he taught biology at Bethel College in North Newton. Now, in retirement, his yard is his classroom.
It isn't everybody that gets to do as a profession the things that really enjoys.
Dwight organized the butterfly count, sponsored by the North American Butterfly Association. That's only one of the many things he's interested in. He spends hours at the Kaufman Museum near the Bethel College campus. Here, he's helped develop this prairie preserve, finding out what plants work best with each other and the prairie.
Because it's basically an experiment. People talk about this as a weed patch. I guess it's a matter of people beginning to see and understand what's around them.
And for those who don't, the museum has listed the plants that are currently blooming. So when you hear of people chasing butterflies on the prairie,
There goes a monarch.
it's people like Professor Dwight Platt who take time to see the beautiful things of nature, the things the rest of us usually miss.
Well, I guess there's just a lot of native plants and animals that are underappreciated. Well, it just takes opening your eyes.
As of 2025, Dwight is still living on that acreage, still enjoying nature, and still learning new things every day. I think that would be a great thing to do. I have no talent in that area. I can't grow anything, but he's got the butterflies, he's got the flowers.
And it takes a lot of patience,
It does.
too. A lot of appreciation. In this world, we'd go, okay, pretty flowers, now what? Okay,
Yeah.
nice butterflies, now let's get on our iPad,
Yeah.
But he sees the beauty in the outdoors, and that's great.
We should all be able to do that.
We should
Yep.
in our next life.
Next life.
Okay.
Okay, got it.
Some people spend their whole lives chasing wealth, convinced it holds the key to happiness.
But in the tiny town of McCracken, there was an elderly couple that seemed to have unlocked a different kind of secret. He had little, and that was plenty. They allowed me, though, into their world in 1984. Take a look.
A familiar wind speaks loudly of spring on John Brown's front porch. You can see a lot from John's house, a town grown old, the wind passing it by.
It used to be a real town then. Now, there ain't much left to it.
John and Anna Brown have been married over 50 years. Anna is going blind. John has heart trouble. They live on $440 a month. And you know what? They're not complaining a bit.
It's the best I've had in my lifetime, so I feel like it's a blessing to me that I've got what I got.
John remembers the early days and those times when a little food in the belly was more important than a man's pride.
I've shocked wheat for 25 cents a day. We had it to do, so what was the difference? We had it to do. And it was rough.
John doesn't have much patience today for those who won't take low-paying jobs. He did, and raised 10 kids.
I think it's awful that they won't take a job where they can get even $3 an hour. Don't seem reasonable. If I could get $3 an hour steady, I know good and well I could make some money.
John has traveled in 48 of the 50 states. He's seen Canada and a couple of South American countries. This is home now. Some people say his yard is full of junk. He says it's full of stuff he needs.
I can go out here and maybe pick up a piece of iron or a piece of wood or something that comes in handy for something.
City fathers once asked him to clean up his yard. Bad move. You don't tell a man like John Brown how to run his life.
I just tell him to hell with him. And I do as I darn please.
John isn't as tough as he sounds, and that's because he's still in love.
I'll tell you, I'm real happy to think I've still got my wife. We don't think about a divorce or nothing of the kind. We're enjoying ourselves. And I still wouldn't trade her for none that I've ever seen yet.
John Brown, a man not afraid to work and not afraid to love.
Well, I've had a good time all my life. Yes, sir. Pretty well content right here.
With the wind comes spring to McCracken, Kansas.
That's really the fun thing about doing these Hatteberg's people is you meet people like John Brown and you see that whatever existence they are in, they're happy.
They're happy.
You know, and that's really the most important thing in life, that they're happy. It doesn't matter how beautiful their house is or unbeautiful their house is.
Yeah.
They're happy.
You know what? Okay, here's the deal. I know you probably don't remember because it was 1984. But how did you find John Brown in McCracken in 1984?
Back when Kansas had small town newspapers, people would, the newspaper would cover these people. And we subscribed to all these small town newspapers. And there they were on the front page, a little feature story done by a reporter. And that's why those small town newspapers are so important.
They really are.
They are.
They're the only way of communicating with the local people.
They are a community gift, and they're going out now, and I hate it.
I do too. And guess what? There might not have been a Hatteberg's people without these little
That's
newspapers.
Right. You wouldn't be watching this.
Exactly. Darn it. Okay, now we're going to go to St. John, which I'm sure had a newspaper as well.
Yes.
St. John, Kansas, and a hard-working woman named Columbia Alexander.
Now listen, by the time I met her, Columbia had been working for a lot of years. She was born in 1885, and she was one of the last of her generation. But as you'll see here, she never quit participating in day-to-day life and doing an honest day's work.
It's early morning at the St. John Cafe in St. John, Kansas. Everyone's busy in the kitchen, including 96-year-old Columbia Alexander.
My husband's been dead 29 years the first day of May, and I've never missed a day's work.
Mrs. Alexander has been working in restaurants off and on since she was 17. Now, even at 96, she still hasn't lost her touch.
Say sad. Just right. Just right. All right.
Her specialty is homemade pie. Now, you might think that because she has to get up early to make it, she might be thinking about retiring. Well, retirement, even at 96, is a sore subject.
Me, I'm never going to retire.
Why not?
And I won't go to the hospital, and I won't go to the rest home unless I don't know what I'm doing, and they take me when I don't know it.
The lady doesn't mince words. She says how she feels.
I don't care how hard it is if I can do it. I like to work. I am not fibbing. I do like to work.
Now, when she was younger, she says 96 sure sounded different.
I stop sometimes and wonder where I got to be 96. But you know, that seemed like a while land when I was a kid. 96, I don't know. That's old.
It is, except that people like Mrs. Alexander make life look so easy. And yes, she does sit down and take a break once in a while.
He asked me a while ago if being 96 I didn't wonder about being. It never bothers me. I don't know how I ever got there.
She got there by just plain living. I'm Larry Hatteberg.
Well, Columbia lived another 2 years, passing away just shy of 99. And if you live in a small town and it has a small town cafe, everybody has experienced women of this kind. They love to cook in the cafe. They love to do the cookies and the cakes and the pies. And you'll meet them, and they are part of the fabric of a small town.
Of the community.
Yeah.
Can you imagine, though, how much fun she had? I mean, what a joy it gave her to cook for her community.
Sure. Well, it kept her alive.
It kept her alive, absolutely.
Yeah.
She was working there at 97.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Are you kidding?
Are we going to be doing this when you're 97?
Yeah, hell yeah. I mean, heck yeah. Okay, some people paint to create beauty. Wilma Nichols painted to share a story.
Yeah, in 1982, inside a small Hayesville church, Wilma's mural was coming to life, but the real masterpiece, it wasn't on the wall. It was in her heart. Hers is a story about life, faith, and the way we leave our mark.
A year of Wilma Nichols' life is on the wall of the West Side Baptist Church in Hayesville. Wilma painted this 9 by 25-foot mural for the Sunday school and daycare center classes. Now, Wilma is an exceptional woman whose charm is accented by her positive outlook on life.
I didn't have any children. We didn't have any children. So I didn't get blessed with children, but the Lord blessed me with a lot of little, tiny talents that don't amount to an awful lot, but they do help me to pass all the time in my life that I would have been chasing children, I guess. This was a new idea because I have to be learning something new all of the time and finding new things to do to keep my life happy. So this is the way I do it. I think of things that I'd like to do, and I don't have sense enough not to try it, so I do it.
Wilma's never taken any painting lessons. She does this for simple enjoyment. And like all of us, painting is not her entire life. She still has a few other dreams left.
I wanted to be an entertainer. As you can see, I'm trying now. And so that's my lifelong dream. I didn't have an opportunity to do it, but I guess that all these other things are substitutes for that, and that dream will never come true. But when I'm 85 years old, I will still be believing that this dream will come true. I never let go of a dream. I think that most things that I dream are not probable, but nothing is impossible. And so I just keep on dreaming.
Well, she kept on painting and then kept on dreaming, and at least her dream of a large mural that others could enjoy became a reality.
It was just the joy that it seemed to bring everyone, and in turn, that turned back on me.
Wilma Nichols, a woman whose dreams have a habit of coming true. I'm Larry Hatteberg.
Well, Wilma's day job was running a beauty shop right out of her home, but she also loved writing poetry and short stories. Now, she also lived to be 89 years old, And still today, her mural still proudly graces the wall of that Hayesville church.
Isn't it cool? It still is up there.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, you know, and I tell people, never sit down in a rocking chair.
Exactly.
Ever, no matter how old you are, have something to do that keeps you active,
Absolutely.
keeps you busy.
And her legacy lives on in that church, too.
In that Hayesville church,
So-
and they can be very proud of that.
That's really cool. Okay, Diane Mason is also an artist. For decades, she's been bringing nature to life in a way few have seen.
Now, every stroke carves light from darkness, revealing a world hidden behind the surface. It is a rare art form demanding patience, precision, and a deep connection to the natural world.
You know, I've never been much of an artist, but I've always admired people who are. I especially like children's art like this, and I suppose it's because I could never draw this well. Now, there are lots of ways to make a picture. You could make one in crayon like this one, or you could work in acrylics or oils or watercolors. There's even a woman in Rose Hill, Kansas, who makes her art by scratching. She's called a scratchboard artist, and her name is Diane Mason.
How many shots do you have left on that roll, honey? Let's see if there's anything on the post down there.
Diane Mason is a wildlife artist. Her art actually begins here, in the
Looks
wild.
kind of like an Oriole's nest.
She and her husband work as a team.
Well, look how it's built, though. See how it hangs, the shape of it?
She finds the wildlife,
There's another nest up there, hon. See it?
and he photographs it. Back in her studio workroom, Diane begins the tedious but beautiful scratchboard art process. Made in Europe, scratchboard is a special paper coated with ink. By scratching the ink, Diane is able to make drawings with incredibly fine detail. Using the photographs, she looks for detail even down to the individual feather that make her artwork stand out as being anatomically accurate.
But there is nothing like creating the individual hairs as you can on scratchboard. People often look at my work and think I have actually pasted feathers on the board. It's that real to them. There's nothing I love so much as the animals, any kind of animal. As you look at things, they become even more fascinating. It makes you want to look harder. It's really interesting after people will see my work and talk to me. They'll go home and they'll start looking at, for instance, their cattle. They'll go out and look at a calf, and they'll see all the little swirls on the hair on the face, and they'll say, well, gee, I never noticed that before. The more you study and the more you look, the more fascinating the world is.
Many people look, but they don't see. Diane sees by using her scientific background as it comes alive in her art. She studies the feathers in goose wings, even the legs of large birds. By the way, Diane has never had an art lesson in her life. Patience is her trademark. Nature was her teacher.
All these people that use marijuana and everything to get a high out of their life, I don't need it. I just go outside.
Art with a scratchboard. Only a handful of American artists can do it. Diane Mason of Rose Hill is one of them. I'm Larry Hatteberg.
Well, more than 40 years later, Diane now lives in Colorado. She still does scratchboard for fun, but since 2000, she's become known primarily as a bronze sculptor of animals. Her work is shown nationwide. You never know where these people are going to end up and how their life is going to change.
Okay.
She went from scratchboard to bronze.
Diane is known nationwide now, but she premiered on Hatteberg's People.
Right here, she did.
Right here
She
in
did.
Wichita, Kansas.
A million years ago.
Exactly.
But you know, that's the fun of finding these people.
Exactly,
You know,
exactly.
Every little town has these kind of people. Every big town has.
Yeah. She probably sells her artwork now for a lot of money.
I'm sure she does, and more power to her.
Absolutely. Hey, we got to go. That's a wrap for this week. HattebergsPeople@kpts.org is our email address. If you have a question or a comment, we thank you so much for watching. I'm Susan Peters.
And I'm Larry Hatteberg. We'll see you again very soon.